Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good almost afternoon. Welcome to our Train Sim World 2 live stream today in the Nahverkehr, Dresden. Our first look at the new route, the 10th new route that has been released for the game. Our 27th route overall. Morning, Pithers. So, yes, lots to do in this game. Lots to do. Anyway, let's get in here. We're going to have a look at we'll do our little first ride kind of thing, learn about the route a little bit, and then look at what collectibles we are going to pick up at some point, and then we'll do the training scenarios. So let's get in here and have a look at this. So hopefully everybody is doing well.
Welcome to Train Sim World 2, an immersive and highly detailed rail simulation featuring authentic routes and trains from around the world. You've just been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience. It is
I figured that was going to be one of our first.
This is one of many interactives to be discovered, but not all of them will be as easy to find as this one.
Isn't that the truth? There is the Talent 2. That looks really good. I have to admit. Looks like we're going to take the DOS toss first.
A lot of time will be spent operating trains, so when ready, sit in the driver's seat.
I think I'm ready.
You can pause the experience at any point and review previous and current objectives. Check it out now and then return to the game when ready. A heads-up display has appeared on the right side of the screen. This is a guide to what the train is doing. This is the speed display. The white needle shows current speed. The red marker indicates the maximum permitted speed. This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions.
Well, thank you, Pithers. I know Joe's
This is the power display.
Streamed.
A number will indicate the position the power control is in.
I think it's on Train Sim World 2021.
These are the brake indicators. They show the state of the various brake systems, allowing independent management of them. In the top right are the signal and speed limit displays. These feature an indication of what is approaching and a countdown distance to when they will come into effect. Some of these displays can be hidden via the settings menu for a more challenging experience. This train is ready to go. Push the indicated handle forwards to get moving.
But yeah, I was really excited to get this today and have a look at it.
The Riesa to Dresden mainline runs for roughly 80 kilometers and runs both express and mainline passenger services, as well as a variety of freight from the local industries.
Have a look outside as we leave the station here. Looks good. There's the shunter I think we will eventually get to play around in.
Train Sim World 2.
Yeah, looks good. They're waiting for us to get out of the way.
You've only explored a small area here, so let's take a look at what else there is to enjoy.
Alright, let's see what our...
Welcome to Dresden
maps.
in
what
eastern
else?
Germany, located in Saxony on the River Elbe. Experience a multitude of operations expanding out of the iconic Dresden Hauptbahnhof, with commuters and international travellers converging to make a hustle and bustle mix of S-Bahn, regional, intercity and freight traffic. Along the way, be sure to place route maps, restock first aid points, paint garden gnomes, and clean up spray paint cans. Choose commuter or heavy freight traffic as you take a trip through the picturesque German countryside.
Garden gnomes.
Welcome to Riesa Dresden.
Oh. I wanted... You know, it would be funny, because if you don't know, Matt wears those kind of goofy headphones when he's doing live streams. It got like the cat ears and all that. It'd be funny if they added those as collectibles, like, you know, put headphones on, you know, characters along the way or something. And they're like Matt's little version of headphones. All right, let's go here and pick our first training. Explorer. Training. So we just did our route introduction. All right, the BR143. Let's get in here, and we're just going to go through each one until we're done. About 20 minutes. So yeah, we're just going to plow through these, and yeah, that would be pretty cool if we got that as a collectible in the game, you know. Or pick up Matt's headphones.
Welcome to driver training. Today you'll be taken through the operation of a BR143 electric locomotive in DB Traffic Red livery. During this brief introduction, we will go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations. When you're ready, climb aboard to get started. We will need to turn the loco on. Head to the control panel.
Oh. Oops, it's the other door, not this one.
To activate the control desk, the battery will need to be turned on. Use the battery switch and set it to the on position. This locomotive is powered by a pantograph that draws power from the overhead lines. Set the pantograph selector to rear. Take a seat in the driver's position. This is where you'll be spending most of your time.
All right. First handle in.
The headlights will need to be set to let others know that this locomotive is operational. We'll need to wait for the air system to charge.
Yep.
Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up. The train is ready to be energized. Take a quick glance of the platform to ensure all is safe before unlocking the doors.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the desk? Should be like a desk light. Cage lights or something.
It's time to get going. Set the doors to locked. The reverser determines the direction of travel. The brakes will need to be released on the train before we can depart. Use the... The force selector determines how much tractive effort force is being supplied to the train. The speed selector allows the driver to easily amend the speed of the locomotive as required. Once the desired speed is set, indicate it.
There we go. So you notice we have that blue line lines up with the white marker, so we shouldn't go any faster than that. Shouldn't is the key word. Now, some of the times the problem is that this thing will kind of do its own, the speed will go over what there's usually like a desk light or cage lights or something. Perfect. There's the instrument lights. There we go. Now I feel like we're doing good. So I thought Mick would be here. He might have just popped in. He might be still kind of getting settled for today. The afternoon. Made himself a latte or something, perhaps. Increase our speed to get to price fits. So last night, you know, I'm just figure I like to do things just to kind of tinker around in flight sim off stream and just have some fun. And so I I did a flight from Hamburg to, it was like a 30-minute flight. It was nighttime, so I'm just getting some nighttime hours in off stream. So I did that flight and it was good. Had fun with that. And didn't really run into any problems or whatever. So I came back to the States and decided to do a flight from the airport right up the road from where I live. I'm just getting stuck into the Boston route. Nice feathers. And so we had some weather here yesterday. We've had rain and whatnot. And so So I thought, well, let's just see, because it was already dark out. And I tell you what, it was nuts. I didn't change the weather. I kept the weather as the game feels, or at least within the last hour or so, the weather that we might have had in the region. And so I basically, it was dark. When I was prepared to take off from the Binghamton airport, it was dark. It was raining, thunder and lightning, and it was nuts. So I took off, and it was Lehigh Valley International, which is down in Pennsylvania. Probably, let's see, Scranton is about 2 hours or so, depending on traffic. Lehigh Valley was just beyond that, but it was like it was a very short flight, right? But it was dark and windy. I mean, that plane was bouncing. I was in the King Air 350i still. I love flying that plane. It's just a blast to fly.
You are now approaching the first stop. Use the speed selector to reduce your speed. You can use the train brake to provide additional braking force.
And so we're just bouncing everywhere, and it was nuts. And it was so bad that when you looked at where the markers were for what do you call it, for your navigation, right? The nav markers for the IFR flight. It was nuts. So the plane was like at an angle, right? Flying, it was going forward, but it was at this really weird angle. And so I started to think as we got into as I was lining up, because it took a while. It was like this long, lazy right-hand turn to get lined up with the airport, and I thought, oh, there's no way this thing, if it lines up at all, I thought for sure it would completely, as soon as I got near the runway, it was just going to go throw itself into all kinds of conniptions. Wow, no, I don't want to stop here. Why did they do that? We're going downhill. I should have coasted in. So yeah, it was very, but it lined up, and as I'm going, it's kind of like it seemed like at some point the plane was just floating. It wasn't making any sort of headway into the, to get ready to land. But it was absolutely fantastic. I guess I should trust myself a little bit more with this. That's the tough one on this, is getting used to the braking. Oh no, of course it's not going to be saying that we stopped. We gotta go. We're a jackhammer. Come on. Okay, good. So yeah, it was, but it lined up. It did not. My feeling was, or my fear was, it would get lined up, and then just as I got over the runway, the wind would take over and would push me either direction, and then I would be off the runway. Nope. I cut off the autopilot once I was over, put it down on the ground, and it was a smoother landing than I had expected. Quite honestly, it was absolutely amazing.
Proceed to the next stop unguided this time and see how you get on. An emergency brake test will occur during the journey.
Oh, at least we get to practice with the emergency brake system too. But as I'm coming into this, into the airport, and the plane's just bouncing everywhere, and my first thought was, if Mick was watching this, oh, he would be just terrified. And he would probably say, oh, I don't think he would hold Abella's hand. I think he would be clutching to Abella for dear life. So I noticed that the signs for the speed boards over here look different than the ones that we normally see on the route. What we've seen in the past. But yeah, I wish I had recorded it. Not that you could see much because of the clouds and all that. Plus, it was dark. But it was amazing, and I couldn't have asked for a better landing. I didn't think it was going to happen, to be honest. I thought for sure it was going to just end in disaster, but it was really good. You've gone really quiet. I've been talking. Pithers, what are you talking about? I was just telling the story about the flight I did last night. My microphone's down. I don't know. I mean, well, part of it too is you're the only one here. You're tied up with Boston now, it seems like, so I'm just getting through yeah, let's see if we see a speed board along here. I did notice it when we were leaving that the stop that we just did at Prisvitz. I know you're talking, Bud, but it's really quiet. Well, so I lowered, I don't know, I had to change some of the settings apparently because, oh no, that was in the flight setting. I don't know, like, I don't know why it's quiet. I'm talking like I normally talk, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You have to keep this, it's like an automated throttle. You don't have to come up the throttle until it acts like a brake. I wonder who's lurking. Well, it could be Nick, could be Bella, could be Daniel, I don't know. Could be any number of people.
We'll now test the emergency brake and go over the critical steps needed to recover the train. To begin, set the train brake to emergency and then wait for the train to come to a complete stop.
Now that should mean that the pantograph is still raised. Let's see if the pantograph goes down at all once we stop. I think that's part of the reset system. Nope.
Next, you will need to set the speed selector to off.
Okay.
The brakes are still applied and will need to be released. Move the train brake to running.
Possibly pithers. Okay, the circuit breaker is the only thing that
Finally,
pops.
set the speed selector to the indicated speed to get the train moving again. Nice work. We can now continue the journey.
Well, thank you, Matt. Oh, good, Mick. Good. Yeah, I was just telling a story. Oh, Mick. I wish I had recorded it so you could go back and watch it. I did a flight here from the Binghamton Airport, right up the road here from where I live, to Lehigh Valley International, which is down in Pennsylvania. And I didn't change the weather. And it was a very bumpy flight. So it was thunder, lightning, rain, wind, and it was 12-knot winds coming into Lehigh Valley. The plane was at an angle, of course, because to compensate for the wind. And I thought for sure that I wasn't going to make the landing, even with the approach on and getting lined up. And all that, I thought, no, this isn't going to go very well. But in my mind, the whole time, I'm like, if I was streaming this and Mick and Mello were both here, Mick would be. I'm thinking, there's no way Mick would just want to hold Mello's hand. I think Mick would be like wanting to cling to Mello for dear life. But it was a good flight. It was only like 30, 40 minutes tops. It took a little bit longer because of the weather, but that plane was. I did it in the 350i. It was bouncing everywhere. It was nuts. But I put it on the ground and taxied in and parked it. Like, it was a very smooth landing. A lot smoother than I expected. No, I thought for sure that wind was going to push the plane one way or the other, or lift me back up suddenly, or who knows what. Yeah, it was, but, oh yeah, you would have been proud of it, though. You would have been proud, Nick. You would have been like, yeah, there we go, there's another bottle of champagne gone. But yeah, couldn't see nothing until we got out of the clouds. It did kind of clear up for a moment just before I landed, and then the clouds started coming back in. Well, I can't repeat the weather. That's the thing. It was just kind of a impromptu sort of situation. I decided to do it with the weather, even though, like, when I did the flight, the crazy thing was, Mick, that it was not that much thunder and lightning. Maybe at the higher altitudes, possibly, perhaps, but by the time I started the flight, the weather, there was clouds, but the rain had broken off, you know, like, oh, no, 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 ah! Let's wait. That's the difficult part about this. Braking, I gotta get used to the brakes on this, on the 143. They're a bit touchy. But yeah, I wish I'd recorded it though. You would have been quite surprised, probably happy as well. But I know you would have been like, I don't think you would have wanted to hold the Bella's hand. I think you would have needed to. God, yeah, I almost did it. I was like, you know what? I ought to record this just for prosperity. But oh man, I was even pretty surprised myself how well it really went. That's that training completed.
Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this train.
Okay. Ooh, our first gold on the route. Moving right along. All right. The 766.2. The Talent 2. But I'll see if I can, well, you know, It's possible.
Welcome to driver training. Today you'll be taken through the operation of this DB-BR 766.2. During this brief introduction, we'll go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations. When you're ready, climb aboard to get started.
I'll see if I can't figure out.
We will need to turn the power on in this unit. Set the battery switch to the on position. Take a seat in the driver's position. This is where you'll be spending most of your time. The reverser determines the direction of travel.
Let the air system charge. Doors are open. Do they just close? Oh, doors are open. Really interesting looking station. Got this sort of canopy system, it looks like. Oh yes, Mick, absolutely. Yeah, the brakes are sharp on the 143. It's just getting used because you're...
Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up and makes contact with the overhead. The train is ready to be energized.
Close the breaker. Start. Oops. I guess you have to hold. Waiting for charging even more. We already did. I thought the brake system's already charged. Oh, you know what the problem is? Well, no, the brake key looks like it's on. I know in the past that we would put it like in full service and then well, this is interesting. All right, now that should. There we go.
This train is now ready to depart. Use the throttle to apply power and get moving. During the course of your journey, ensure that you are monitoring your speed and the amount of power that is applied. If too much power is applied from this control car, then this could cause the traction motors of the rear locomotive to cut out and prevent further power from being applied. This is not the case when operating a train with a BR146.2. Coasting is a method used. Keeping the speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of brake by moving the train brake.
But yeah, what I might be able to do, Mick, I'll see if I can figure it out, if I can refly that service, although I want to see if it will bring me back to what was basically happening, you know. I don't know if it saves that sort of information or not. That'd be my one curiosity. But yeah, I really wish I had recorded it though. It was pretty freaking awesome. Not gonna lie. I even did better than I expected. Like I thought for sure it was gonna, you know, end in disaster. But anyways, what else? There was something else I wanted to talk about. That should be the next one, I think, after this. We are in DOS. Something else.
You are now approaching the first stop. Apply a small amount of braking force using the train brake to achieve a comfortable and safe stop.
Yeah, it really was, Mick. I think if I had streamed it, or, you know, if you had watched it, you would have, I think you would have been pretty impressed. overall, though I think also you might have gotten a little, started feeling a little airsick, because that foreplane was bouncing. It got me up to 10,000 feet, which was, we were in nowhere near clean air, obviously. So I mean, we're going all over the place, and of course it got worse. It seemed as we started descending into Lehigh Valley.
Take a quick glance of the platform to ensure all is safe before unlocking the doors.
It's always safe. There's never any issues. Come on, Matt. Let's see, 12 after 7. Let's see if we... try to get as many of these done before we take our break, before we go flying again.
Set the doors to locked. We will now cover traction locking and how to recover the train. A traction lock can come into effect in several different ways. If power is applied whilst the brakes are still applied, the traction lock will be engaged. Another instance of where this happens is if power is applied while the passenger doors are still unlocked.
Okay.
To simulate a traction lock, we'll first move the train brake into full service.
Okay.
Next, we'll need to apply some power to engage the traction lock system. The traction lock has now been triggered. This is represented on the HUD by a red outline on the power display.
Oh. Okay.
To recover from a traction lock, we need to ensure that power is not being applied. Set the throttle back to the off position.
Yep.
Finally, we need to make sure the train brake is set to the running position. Nice job. The traction lock has now been disengaged and we're now able to continue the journey.
So that's what that means.
Proceed to the next stop, unguided this time, and see how you get on.
Okay, Matt. Now I think if we look, there should be a speed board coming up here as we depart. Ah, come on, give me the other side. I'm not gonna do it. Okay. I saw one when we were on this route earlier. I'm trying to see if I can spot it again. Nope, not that one. That's the speeding. I'm looking for a speed reduction board. I think there's one coming up. There should have been one coming up, but it might have been on the... Not there. There's a speed reduction board. Look at... Okay, so yeah, some of those, there are different... They're easier to kind of pick out, because I think the ones that they had before kind of blended in too much and people weren't seeing them, which would cause the system to kick in, the CIFA or PZB to kick in, because you didn't acknowledge that that speed board if you have PZB engaged. This is a nice looking station. This is Dresden. Oh, this is... Ooh, wow, I like this station. I might have to pull it forward a little bit. Nope. So these boards are not... Well, this is just training, so it may not be
Good work.
activated.
That concludes all the basics of operating this train.
All right. What do we got next? Should be another gold there. All right. Moving right along. Oh, the 442 introduction. That should be the talent too. There it is.
Welcome to driver training. Today you'll be taken through the operation of a BR442 electric multiple unit in DB traffic red livery. During this brief introduction, we'll go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations. When you're ready, climb aboard to get started.
Ooh, there's a map right there. Might as well snag that.
In normal operation, this unit draws electricity from the overhead catenary via a pantograph. However, since the pantograph is currently in the down position, we have to power the initial systems by priming the auxiliary battery.
We gotta hold it in the on position.
Take a seat in the driver's position. This is where you'll be spending.
Master key to on. Forward.
Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up and makes contact with the overhead.
Pantograph. Close the circuit.
Take a quick glance of the platform to ensure all is safe before unlocking the doors.
Alright, let's change this. Get some contrast. It's easier to see. There we go. Train lights.
It's time to get going. Set the doors to locked.
Well, the thing is, Pithers, we'll have a little bit of a history lesson. So, Dresden. Oh, we got to hit this.
This unit has two braking systems, an indirect brake and a blended brake that is part of the combined power handle. Finally, disengage the handbrake.
Oh.
This train is ready to go.
Use
the combined power handle to
so,
apply some power and get moving.
Oh, Mick, I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm sure you know this, that Dresden was firebombed in World War II, so I suspect, and I could be wrong here, but I suspect that the... Oops. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. What am I... Oh,
coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of brake by moving the combined power handle into the braking range.
So I kind of feel like they probably did do when they built the Bahnhof station, you know, the train station, basically. Again, that they had plans, you know, and basically used those for their for when they rebuilt them. Because if I remember correctly, I mean, there was not much left of Dresden when it was firebombed. Like, it was pretty much, I think, for all intents and purposes, destroyed, because it was, I think it was a area that was producing munitions or anything else for the war effort on the part of Germany during World War II. And so we firebombed it out of existence, just about. So the fact that Dresden was reborn from that is a, well, in its own way, it's an achievement, all on its own, and I think, one of the things about Germans is they don't like, they understand that part of their history is a very sort of touchy subject elsewhere in the world. They're not proud of that, but they've rebuilt, and I think that's something that should be, not that, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. The fact that the city was pretty much dead, and they took something like that and made it to what it is today, what we see, and on this route I think is an amazing thing. Other people might disagree, of course, because you think about rebuilding, you're going back to what was necessarily destroyed, I guess, in the war. But the German people are fairly resilient, I think. But they also are not. They bear that guilt even all these decades later. People, I think, a lot of times they love to remind the Germans, oh, wait a minute, don't forget about what happened in the past.
You are now approaching the first stop. Use the combined power handle to apply a small amount of brake force to achieve a comfortable and safe stop.
So that was one of the things that I was talking with my German teacher one time, is that, Germans are not allowed to be proud, because if Germans express pride in being German, that's tantamount to, bringing up that unfortunate past. That's a pretty good stop. I've not nailed my stops yet, but not too bad. Yeah, this 442 looks really good. I do like the look of these trains. So yeah, Dresden was one of those areas I wish I had visited when I was in Germany, just to see the of course, when I was there, I really wasn't thinking about the train stations and all that. So I regret that, there's lots of things that I like now that I
Proceed to the next stop,
particularly...
unguided this time, and see how you get on. An emergency brake test will be carried out on the way.
So yeah, I didn't really, I should have taken more pictures, that sort of thing. Let's see there's a train map, the station map. Yeah, I really wish I'd, spent more time enjoying those things instead of always being in the bar drinking. I wish I had traveled more when I was there.
We will now perform an emergency brake test. Press the indicated button to engage the emergency brake and then wait for the train to come to a stop before proceeding.
Alright, now let's see on this one if the pantograph gets lowered. Nope. Still. So I think it's the circuit breaker that pops. Again.
We will need to recover the train in order to continue the service. First, set the combined power handle to off to ensure power isn't being applied.
Okay.
Nice work. You can now continue on to the next stop on your journey.
Okay. I was expecting to have to, like, at least close the circuit again, and... Oh, interesting. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, if I ever find the means financially, I'd like to go on a rail tour of Europe and just go through, like, you know, all these beautiful stations like Dresden, Holm to Aachen, you know, like, I could easily spend at least 6 months just traveling around all those different stations and, you know, taking pictures of it, you know. Like, I think I could spend at least a day at each station. Just because, you know, waiting for the right light to hit and all that kind of stuff. Just to make some really... Yeah, I thought so too, Mick. I was expecting... That's one of the things that I'm glad we're doing this, because what we're finding out is it's not nearly... I think we tend to overcomplicate things, and sometimes the game overcomplicates things. So I'm glad that we were getting a better sense of what to expect. I think that was one of the things that most people in the community were asking for was, well, you know, you haven't done the thing like that says if you go into an emergency brake, this is how you recover from it. So I think that's good that they put those back in. But yeah, I was expecting it to be way more, lot more things involved in getting the train moving again. There we go, finally nailed the stop.
Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this train.
Alright, now we should go on to the ice train. Nope, the one for... Let's go back to the main menu, because I thought we did the one for 6.2 already. Okay, there's that. The 185, 363. Oh, okay. Well, let's get in here and... Well, that's a nice looking picture. All the logs.
Welcome to driver training. Today you'll be taken through the operation of a BR146.2 electric locomotive in DB Traffic Red livery. During this brief introduction, we'll go through the critical driving controls and passenger operations. When you're ready, climb aboard to get started. In normal operation, this unit draws electricity from the overhead catenary via a pantograph. However, since the pantograph is currently in the down position, we have to power the initial systems by priming the auxiliary battery. The pantograph mode will need to be set before it can be raised. Set the pantograph selector to automatic.
Okay.
Set the exterior lights for normal operation. Take a seat in the driver's position. With power of... we will need to wait for the brake system to charge.
Of course we will.
Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up and makes contact with the overhead catenary.
Close the circuit. Parking brake. Released.
The reverser determines the direction of travel.
Forward.
Take a quick glance at the platform to ensure all is safe before unlocking the
left.
doors.
Oh yes, Mick, absolutely. That was pretty awesome. I did not expect that. Oh, you have to hit. That's kind of odd.
It's time to get going. Set the doors to locked. We will now cover traction locking and how to recover the train. A traction lock can come into effect in several different ways. If power is applied whilst the brakes are still applied, a traction lock will be engaged. Another instance of where this happens is if power is applied whilst the passenger doors are still unlocked. To simulate a traction lock, we will first need to move. Next, the traction lock has now been triggered. This is represented on the HUD by the red outline on the power display. To recover from a traction, finally, we need to make sure that the train brake is set to the running position. Nice job. The traction lock has now been disengaged and we're able to continue the journey. This train is ready to go. Use the throttle.
Yeah, so I guess that was maybe an SD40 or GP38-2, the one in real life that Union Pacific has, Nick, that I sent you a picture of. Oh, it's the singing train. I already know what things are going well.
Used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce.
When I hear that sound,
keeping
then I
the
know
speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of brake by using the train brake.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that point of interest thing that kind of shows you a little bit about that town, that area as well. That was really well put together. I think that's hopefully something that they're going to maybe do going forward in the other DLCs that are going to be available for that. It'd be kind of nice to see that. Especially because I think... Oops.
You're now approaching the first stop. Use the train brake to apply a small amount of brake force to achieve a comfortable and safe stop.
I think I'm going to blow this station. Awesome. I wasn't paying attention to my distances. Oh well, it is what it is. That could have gone horribly wrong. And we're not completely all on the platform either. Although. Yeah, because I think especially because the folks who make ETS, are they the same ones who... So Euro Truck and American Truck Simulator are both made by the same company, right? I think. Yeah, it looked spot on to yeah, would like to see. Yeah, yeah, I think that would be a good thing because, you know, for many people, you know, like when you or Joe were on an American Truck Simulator, you know, there's lots of areas you guys go through that you don't really know anything about. Not that that's, you know, you're at fault for that. It's just, you know, you know basically the big areas like LA, San Francisco, New York City, you know, Chicago, the big cities. So an area like Wyoming, for instance, it's, you know, you don't know much about it because it's one of those states that most people don't know about. You know, or like where the name, you know, Cheyenne, where the name came from and everything. So I think if they show those little bits and slices of life, sort of thing, and show the town, you know, as it's represented in their sort of representation of the area. Was there a reduction in speed that I totally missed? I think there was. So yeah, I think that's a good thing to kind of show you a little bit around town and all that. That's pretty awesome of them to do that. So it's insane. I think once we get to Coswig, this should be ending this training scenario for this, and then we'll go on to the next thing. So interestingly enough, there's not a training scenario for the ice train on this route. There is an ice train. I don't know if it's the one that we have from Munich to Augsburg or the one from Cologne to Aachen. We will see eventually. Yeah, tomorrow we'll do we'll be on the Oakville subdivision. Saturday we have Long Island Railroad, flight around New York. Sunday will be Great Western Expressway and the HST, followed by a flight around London. We'll wrap this up here. Ta-da.
Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this train.
.5. Wonder if it's gonna be in the MRCE livery. Find out here in a moment. There it is.
Welcome to driver training. Today you'll be taken through the operation of a BR 185.5 electric locomotive in MRCE livery. During this brief introduction, we'll go through the critical driving controls and freight operations. When you're ready,
I think I know what we're getting ready to do. I think we're going to connect to some...
In normal operation, this unit draws electricity from the overhead catenary via a pantograph. However, since the pantograph mode will need to be set before it can be raised. Take a seat in the driver's position. This is where you'll be. We will need to wait for the brake system to charge.
Well, we should get the headlights set if they're not already set.
Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up and makes contact with the overhead catenary. The locomotive is...
Nope. The headlights are not on.
The reverser determines the direction of travel.
Where's the...
There are a few freight operations to take care of around the yard.
So we are not getting headlights.
And preparing a chemical train. The train brake is the main system used for slowing the train down. This train is now ready to depart. Apply some power to get moving.
Yeah, something's not working with the lights, I don't think. It says that it's switched to headlights.
Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of braking force using the train brake.
So we are here on the line.
The tankers are now behind us. Ensure that the junctions are correctly set and then reverse to couples of the tankers.
Yep. Contact the dispatcher. Now see, this is what always throws me off. Here's the other switcher there. We have a red here, but we can go. So I'm guessing the red is really for the other direction. Yep. Okay. Cross over here. I guess I can speed up a little bit. I was just worried that even with that red, even though it's not showing for us, in the past we've had that issue, I think, where we thought that we were safe to go even though we contacted dispatch, and we end up getting dinged for it. So, alright. We'll just do a bit of switching first. Connect to those, then pull those out. I think that's might be it for this one. Okay. So down just a smidge as we get close to these tankers. That doesn't seem very good. Oh, come on. That's one thing I don't... Switching used to... kind of... When you're trying to connect the stuff and you're trying to slow down, then you inadvertently stop before you get to your point where you're... Okay.
With the tankers now coupled to the locomotive, we need to couple them to the next set of tankers to form a complete train.
Oh. We're going forward again. We're going to connect to these right next to us, I do believe. Get a little bit more throttle to get us moving. Our operator seems to be well overdressed for this no, I'm not buying it. That dude is way overdressed for this. You are not going to be like, yeah, that just doesn't seem legit. Sorry, but no. I have my doubts that that's what he does. For, yeah, like, I don't think anybody who's handling freight is going to be dressed in like this. That's like passenger sort of stuff. I could see that if you're running a passenger train, that seems like a more, appropriate sort of dress. But for a freight service, especially when you're talking about tankers and stuff like that, there's no way anybody in their right mind would go to work on a freight route dressed like that. You're overdressed. Plus, you're going to be worried about, getting oil or whatever all over your stuff. Yeah, that just doesn't seem very, very reasonable at all. Okay. All right, let's back this bad boy up. Yeah, it sure does, Mick. Absolutely. I mean, I guess if you're the only one and you're just operating the train and you're not getting out, like there's, other folks who handle all the making sure everything's coupled up and whatnot, then maybe you could do it, but I have my doubts. I'd have to Google what's the uniform for German freight route drivers. I would think it would be kind of like, jeans or, any kind of tough sort of material. Like, overalls or something. Certainly something that's going to protect you from the chemicals that are in these tankers. Because once that stuff gets on your clothes, I mean, it's going to take several washings to kind of get that sort of smell out of your clothes. Well, we definitely know the brakes work on this thing.
With the tankers stabled in the siding, you need to uncouple them from the locomotive. Climb down now and uncouple them.
Alright, we will climb down and uncouple.
Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this locomotive.
There we go. Then, let's see, we should have 363, and I think that's going to be it. Yep. There we go. Yay. Then we'll have a quick look at some of we'll look at the timetable real quick, and then we'll wrap that up have a little break.
Welcome to driver training. Again. Today you'll be taken through the operation of a BR363 diesel locomotive. This brief introduction will cover critical driving controls and freight operations. Climb aboard to get started.
Look at this. Now see, this is the weird part.
Take a seat in the driver's position. This is where you'll be spending most of your time. To activate the control desk, set the master key to on.
Okay.
To allow fuel to flow to the engines, the fuel pump must be set to on.
Of course.
To start the engines, press the engine start switch. To engage the hydraulic drive, the power switch must be activated.
Hold on a second. Let me make sure I get the right one here. Power on.
Press the changeover button to set this as the active throttle control. The reverser is used to set the direction of travel.
Forward.
To release the brakes, set the train brake to the driving position.
Got it. Oops, out of the way.
For this introduction, you'll be performing shunting duties and forming a train. This train is now ready for operation. The throttle on this locomotive is a little unusual. Push the control forward to accelerate faster, and then move it back to the hold position to maintain the engine's RPM. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of brake using the train brake.
That's papers. Where's the lights? Put all the lights on. Screw it. We wanted everybody to see us. No matter which way we're going. There we go. We are a well-lit locomotive now. I should have probably checked. That one is not set. Set that now. So good thing to notice when we're around here, we have to check we should check our switches because a lot of these are not automatic. So we have to be aware of that. See, now this is something I would expect a freight driver to wear because you're going to be around, you know, if you have to get out and be around the moving around the cars, you want to be visible, right? So that is something I would expect a freight driver to wear, that sort of uniform, for safety reasons. Well, this thing certainly is very...
This yard features manual junctions. The manual junctions will need to be set on foot before departing. Climb down now and make sure the junctions are set to the correct positions.
Oof. Now, in the past, I would have done that, you know, and you could do it once you're doing this stuff in the when you're doing a service. But be careful. What I noticed is that you can easily if you don't, when it gives you that sign, if you do it from the map, basically, it may not, your scenario or whatever, your service may go, especially in scenarios, it may cause the scenario to not give you credit for completing it. We're just going to kind of coast backwards here. We've got our coupler lowered already. So this does have a lap brake system, so that's something to be aware of. Okay, it looks like all of our other points are set. So when you're operating this, you have to be very careful with your system, because it's going to take, you know, a bit of getting used to how it all works. So no tone on this one, just get that sort of thing. So yeah, once we are done with this, we'll take our break till 9 and we'll go flying. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed this and got a good look at the route. Oh, we will. No, I forgot. I did promise we will look at the timetable just to kind of get an idea of what all is offered on this route. Almost forgot. So sit tight for that. We will just kind of glance over how many different locomotives we have for services, and then we'll wrap it up. So this kind of, in some ways, feels like what we see in Oakville subdivision when we start loading up tankers and such. So if you're familiar with that, this should be, it kind of feels like a very similar sort of okay, I think we might be close enough.
Now you are coupled, bring these tankers over to the second set to form a train.
Alright, so we're going to go back out the way we came. make sure we'll check our stuff again, make sure nothing's changed. And away we go. I think they have done an amazing, yeah. I agree, Nick. I would agree with that. I was, kind of going off what you said just now. So I was excited, and I'm still excited. I'm not going to let idiots deter me, because that's what they are. When I got Microsoft, when it was announced for the Xbox, I was very excited because it was finally an opportunity for me to play a simulator that I've wanted to play for quite some time. I just never had the computer good enough to play it. I really wish I could play it on my iMac, on my 27-inch monitor, but you can't. For whatever, I'd have to run a fake Windows sort of thing to get it to work. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed is that I don't, there are people who are having some issues with the simulator, and that's just part of, unfortunately, that's just part of the world we live in now. I did try to remind somebody, hey, a lot of these games that came out within the last year all came out during a global pandemic. Now, I think everybody knows that. It's just that some people choose to ignore that part of it. So whatever you may have expected before, you have to change your expectations. Very reasonably, you need to. If you're not willing to do that, then there's something really wrong, I've seen, like one person very plainly said that they didn't, this is their words, and I may paraphrase a bit here, I didn't hate console players until Microsoft Simulator came out on the console. And I thought, so you're blaming people who have nothing to do with anything. The issues are, I'm not a big game player on this game, but it does work really well. I just wish other developers would put more into the... Yeah, I would agree with that, Nick. Absolutely. They dovetail. I think most, well, I can't say most. I'd say Asobo, they're doing what they can to improve Microsoft Flight Simulator. People just don't see it that way because of the fact that it's on the console now, and the PC players feel like that their version of the game was downgraded just for console players. Alright, let's just look. We do have to change. So they only tell us to change one. The other ones we can change on the map this way. Make sure that's all set before we go. So we're going to pull them back in there. Oops. And we're all set. Okay. So yeah, this one. When that person said that, like I didn't hate console players until Microsoft Flight Simulator came out on the console. And I'm like, wow, you're blaming people for something, like, it wasn't like it wasn't like we petitioned Microsoft. That was their decision. right? They're the ones that decided to put the game on the console. Why? Come on, release. Oh, I know why. Because we got the cars now, and it takes a moment for the brakes to release. We should start coasting back here in a moment. I think. There we go. We'll just let that coast. So yeah, it's a very kind of odd, well, not awkward. It's just a really odd situation that somebody blames people who had nothing to do with what's going on. You know, like and I just, you know, I thought it's rather unfortunate, and other people pointed this out in that same forum discussion, which I finally muted because it was just, the numptiness just got out of control very quickly, which I was hoping that, you know, would not be the case, but it is. So I just, it was just, it's amazing how quickly people, you know, like, you have some reasonable people in there going like, you know, hey, if you're enjoying the game, that's awesome. You know, some people are still struggling, but a lot of it is because there's issues. They don't have, like, their computer might be outdated a bit. They haven't updated their graphics card or whatever. So it may be error, operator error, basically. But none of those people are going to take the time to double check all their stuff either. So they're just going to go in there and complain because the console players are the new boogeyman sort of thing. And they deserve all the spite. You know, how dare, like, you know, how dare console players get a game that is made for PC, and if they're enjoying it, no matter what, how dare they? It's like, well, that's very toxic mentality. Some people brought politics into the discussion, which was completely unnecessary. I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna mute this discussion because I don't see. There's no, people were just became so unreasonable. It was mind-boggling. So, but yeah, I the other thing too is that, so you don't, the routes were all for sale separately under rush hour. So if you don't want the Riesa to Dresden route, you don't have to buy it. Nobody is holding a gun to your head and saying, if you want to play with your friends, you have to buy this, or else you're going to get left behind and your friends are going to be laughing at you. Well, are they really your friends then? You know? That's the thing. Are they really your friends at that point? I think we're close enough. Let's see if we can get this to couple. Nope. Oops. Okay, here we go.
Nice work. Now uncouple from the train and return the locomotive to its initial location.
Oh boy. So much to do. Okay. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm gonna have to. I would like to see. You know, I want to be a part of the forums and be able to get information about stuff that's going on with Microsoft Flight Simulator, because if there's other people are experiencing the same issues as me, maybe they figured out a way to work around it if it's on the Xbox. You know, otherwise it's become such a negative experience. I almost felt like just saying, oh, screw it, I'm just going to leave, because what's the point, you know? Oops, gotta go a little forward a little bit more. All right. I think it's nice to have that choice to pick what you want, because on the PS5 we get a choice to download single player or multiplayer of the game with the save space. Oh, I didn't know that. I just learned something new. Interesting. Alright, let's put this thing up. Ta-da! So yeah, that's one thing to be aware of, folks. If you're when you're using this, you got to make sure your coupler is lowered. So always be aware of that. I don't think there's any like other optional ways to connect. I think you have to have this down to connect stuff. So just be aware of that. It's something they didn't cover, but so just be cognizant of that. But I do like, yeah, the fact that they decided you can get the season's pass, or the rail pass, whatever you want to call it, or you can buy each route separately. So, some people may have wanted to skip, although Northeast Corridor is certainly one of those routes that was very popular before, so I think a lot of people were excited for that. This route, I think everybody's like, oh great, another German route. Oh, haven't seen that before. So, but railroading is a big thing in Germany, and it is as well in the UK. I mean, I think also for America. So, this notion of, well, I'm only going to buy the fast stuff. Well, as we talked about the other day, people got the LGV Mediterranean and said it was too fast. There's not enough to do to keep their interest. So I think part of it is you just have a generation of people who are never satisfied with what they get. There we go. All right.
Good work. That concludes all the
There it
basics
is,
of
folks.
operating this train.
Ta-da. Wow, we made 5 levels already, and all we did was the training stuff. Okay, let's look at the timetable real quick. Oh, yay! We got a thing. Alright. 350 services. The Talent 2, the 406. So the one that we have to pick it should be I think it's this last one. The 143. You have 2 different liveries, although doesn't seem much difference there. Oh, we get the BR 101. There we go. The 146.2. The MRCE. The subtle differences there. The 182. The 112. And then the 363. And we only get that with the blue and white livery. And the BR 406. So the 406, let's take a look. I think that's Colne to Aachen. Let's just have a look. It looks like that's what it is. Yep. So it's the same one that we got on with this when it came out, the Colne to Aachen route. So let's see how many services are on with that real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. That's got 14 services also. So you go from Dresden to Riesa, coming that you're heading for Frankfurt. And then coming from Frankfurt, going to Dresden. So yeah, let's just all about 30 minutes each. So yeah, looks good. I would imagine the Talent 2, that's got how many services? 81, 96 for the 766.2. Remember, we have to make sure we pick the correct one there. 57 with the 143, 25 with the 101, 43 with the 146, 28 with the 185, 6 services with the 182, 51 with the 112, and 12 with the 363. Scenarios are 6 of them. And you're dealing with, looks like you're going to only go so far and you have to stop. There's that one. Follow the leader. Towing the line. Wrong road. Chemical plant. So you're going to be moving. So you're going to build the train, then take it somewhere, I guess. So yeah, lots of stuff to do for sure. Anyway, that's going to be it. I will be back in 30 minutes on Microsoft Flight Simulator. All there. Until then, enjoy the rest of your morning.